Oh, really good one. So welcome everyone to our Hiku Community Board on the 16th of April 2024. So I'd like to call on Darren X, who is going to do us in opening care.
Thank you, Adele. Draw on the supreme sacredness to clear, to free the heart, the body, and the spirit of mankind. Rongo. Draw together. Amen.
Thank you, Darren. I'd like to call on Peter Bison now in the public forum, who's going to give us talk about the Awanui River scheme. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Tōra koutou, I'm Peter Wiesing, I'm the Kaitaia Area Manager for the Northern Regional Council. A big part of what I do is the holding the management of the Awanui Flood Scheme, the Awanui River Flood Scheme. Adele will be very familiar with what we do as a member of our liaison group. We also have other members of the community and iwi on our group, farmers to feed in and work collectively to come up with works that help protect Kaitaia and the surrounds. Kaitaia being on a very active floodplain between the Awanui River and the Te Whakaroa River. If it wasn't for the stop banks in the scheme, we'd have water regularly flowing from Awanui River through town and out to the Te Whakaroa. I do have a bit of a presentation if we could pull that up. I can talk to. Just we are doing significant works over the last 5 years to do a major upgrade to the scheme. So we'll go to the next one.
Can you make it better?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So 58 flood, water was a metre deep through where we're standing, through Kaitaia, caused a lot of economic damage. So since then, the Ministry of Works started doing a lot of stop banking works to try and protect Kaitaia, given the whole CBD at that stage and half the town was on that very active floodplain. Got about a 20,000 hectare catchment that delivers straight through a narrow gorge into Kaitaia and then spreads out through the Awanui Flats. So there's a real need for the flood scheme. If it wasn't for that, we'd have regular flooding, massive property loss, and possibly even loss of life. So the next slide, just
I'm just going to see if I can do that.
so this scheme involves a lot of strengthening and protecting the stop banks that were originally built and enlarging them significantly to cope with. So for example, this is down the lower Whangatane near the Whakatahi stream. As the spillway enters into the Rangiuna, we're doing significant works to try and up-spec because we've pretty much got the work through town done. Now we have to get the water safely right through to the Rangiuna part.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so you can go to the next one. So this is a typical event you'll see, 2022. That's after some significant stop bank work. You can see how full the system is. There's about 320 cubic metres a second going down that. And this was just outside this building FPO. So next slide. We do a lot of measuring and monitoring and modelling. We've got rain gauges, river gauges to try and give early warning systems and you know, it's quite technical. This here just shows you the history. It's a bit hard to see at this range, but from the first arrow at the left is the 1958 flood that went through town. Yeah. And then you see on the right-hand side, you can see the 2022 flood, which is significantly larger and didn't do any damage. Mm-hmm. So the work that has been done originally by the Ministry of Works, Lands and Survey, now Regional Council, has markedly improved flood control through town. And now we're trying to get that a slightly lesser level of protection right through to the out to Rangiona Harbour. Okay. Yeah, we can look through. Yeah. Again, we do a lot of measuring and monitoring. This slide just shows that 2022-23 was a very wet year. And if we get a very wet year and a significant event in the catchment, we get devastated because there's no holding capacity in the catchment. So we're very prone to having wet years and flooding. Next one. This is some of the works that we've done and that flood, showing how we've given the river room to move. So we pull areas back and can let water spread out. And you see that's at the that's just upstream from Dunn Street. Next slide. Okay, hard to see, but that is our schedule of work starting. You'll see whole lots of work from Kaitaia all the way through to the Paratahi and Rangiunu, as well as parts of the Aonui River. We're trying to get proportioned flows, not only through town, through the Tarapotaroa and the Aonui, but also the Whangatane Spillway and the Aonui River, trying to get a balance of flow and to give everyone a fair deal, basically. The scheme has a very large storage area in Tangoni, where they can store up to about 8 million cumecs offline before it has to go back into the river. So that's our schedule of works. Involves a whole lot of stop banks, many kilometres of stop banks, lots of benching, which is widening out of the channels. We've made a whole lot of spillways to try and split water and spread water, doing all sorts of scour protection, because the bed of the river's in further scouring, and as the bed scours, the banks all fall in. So we do a lot of rock work to try and hold and protect the banks. We're doing flood wall protection where we haven't got the room to do stop banks. Doing massive amounts of earthworks, and a lot of rocks falling on corners to try and hold corners. You might have seen the works at Rongapai that we've just done recently, try and protect those houses from erosion. The next slide. Okay, this is Dunn Street. This is the works we did originally at Bells Hill. That was the first and most important thing we had to do. Was Bells Hill was slipping into the river. If it had slipped into the river, it would have blocked the river. Water will go through town. So we did significant works from there and then downstream. So next slide. You can see the sort of before and after works where we removed trees and widened out the river, eased the banks, put rock work in to try and manage that flow. We're trying to get a 1 in 100 year plus climate change flow through town. That's our game. But bearing in mind that you get an oversized event, things are going to go sideways. But this is designed to a 1 in 100 in climate change. And since that, we've done work further upstream by the rugby club. Next slide. We do timber walls where we haven't got room to do major stop banks. Next slide. You can see bridges are always a major obstruction in any flood scheme. So the Wakaruki Bridge, we widened out and rock armoured, so it's a black power pad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I remember.
Yeah.
Used to live there. Yeah, Wakaruki Bridge there, we did significant works to try and get more flow through. Because if you get a debris blockage on a bridge, you're severely at risk. And we've all seen the Hawke's Bay images where bridges get blocked and then the stop banks above the bridges blow out and the river takes a new course. Yep, next slide. Okay, this is Matthews Park. We've put a new spillway. You can see the Aonui River on the right does a really hard bend and then the Whangatane Spillway takes off. So we're trying to ease more water down the Aonui River so we're not overloading the Whangatane Spillway. Okay, next slide. Yep, so that's the spillway after it was built. It's now all grassed up and known as a park. Next slide. Okay, the Whangatane Spillway, we've done a massive amount of widening out of the stop banks through the farmland. You can see there, back of Monganui haulage, we've widened out the stop banks. The original banks are very close to the channel that's there. We've now pulled them back a significant amount. Yep, next slide. Down the lower Whangatane, you can see on the right-hand side, we've built a new stop bank. The original stop bank's the green one in the middle. We built a new one on the right-hand side, and we're pulling out the stop bank to try and give much more capacity to safeguard the Mahumara area and down the bottom end there. The next slide. Okay, one of the fun things is the kids planting up some of the areas that we've finished. So we do planting days. We've done a planting day with Te Pātū. On the next slide, done a planting day with Oturu Marae, who are very keen to restore some of these areas and get a bit of native vegetation back there. Next slide always comes back to money. We're only able to do this because we had a significant input from Kānoa, which is, thank you, Shane Jones. The whole upgrade was valued about 15 million. We got 8.5 from him. The NRC general rate, that's our rich cousins in Whangarei, paid another 4.5 million. The locals only paid 2 million out of the whole thing, which is 13% of the upgrade. So thanks to the regional council for prioritising Kaitoa in that way. When things go wrong, and we get an oversized event, we have an evacuation plan. So we've got a lot of stakeholders probably in this room that feed into this plan. No one's going to come and save us. We're locals, we're going to save ourselves. So we're lucky that we've got a very good civil defence and iwi backing for these plans. So I think we're in a pretty good state. We'll be meeting coming up soon to renew some of the contacts and meet again about the plan. So hope we don't get there, but we always want to be prepared. So.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
If there's any questions.
Yeah, just sorry, Bill Zabriskie. With the amount of flow out into the harbours, are you guys measuring any impact on the Rangimu Harbour? From Unai on?
We do measure the flows, but what we're trying to do is get the flows down there. The flows was always going to get there anyway, but we're trying to get it there cleaner and less debris. So a lot of the work we're doing is reducing erosion, reducing sedimentation. Some of the work we're doing is up in upper catchment with poplar plantings and stream bank protection. So, and we do have, there are harbour studies being done on sedimentation. I think Wanguna was done with sedimentation studies that can map the rate of sediment increase. And we isotope test it to see where it comes from, forestry or farms. Science is here to do that.
Another question, the Amoni Loop, that's the blocked off end.
Yep.
What jurisdiction, whose jurisdiction is that in terms of?
Yeah, as far as the river scheme goes, it was a cut-off piece of river when they built the new bridge. It was always going to be filled in with rubbish, apparently, and then soiled over, according to the locals back in the day. It is largely a outlet to the Paonui stormwater system.
Yeah.
So it's very important for that. It's little or no importance in terms of river management because it doesn't have a flow. Water will might back up to it. But from time to time, we sort of band together with district council and go halves and halves in the dig and clean it out, that sort of thing. But
and that's happening when?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. Yes, twice over the years I've been around. So if it needs to clean out, we generally put together and do it if it needs doing. But it's not an integral part of the river management that we do. But it's certainly needed to get rid of stormwater out of
yes. There's about three major drains
between the river management, the urban stormwater management, and the drainage districts. There's three separate entities. Two of them are run by the district council. We only do the main channels in the flood control scheme.
Okay.
So I suggest you talk to your local councillor who's in charge of urban stormwater management and the drainage districts.
Thank you.
We all work together. We've all got the same ratepayers, so we all work together as much as we can. You know, we upgrade some of the drainage assets when we're there because we're there.
Cheers.
You had a question.
Thank you, and thank you, Peter, for your presentation. And a great segue into some of my questions. I have 3 questions. The first being about stormwater, because that's something that our council, in my view, is underinvested in for many decades. And all the works that you're doing will be great to get the river water away from the town. But as we've seen in Auckland, the urban stormwater will still flood all the houses if we don't have proper urban stormwater. So are you working with anyone operationally in our council for both the operations to ensure the urban stormwater can get into the river or have certain detention areas? And then on top of that, for our drainage, is anyone in our council operationally talking to you at all?
No one from council, but we do talk to Ventia staff. We talk to Rob, who's a local who deals with the stormwater management. So both Civil Defence, Sarah and I have met with Ventia to raise some concerns about floodgates not being maintained through Kaitaia, and they've given an undertaking to investigate and maintain them, because all the penetrations where there's a floodgate through our stop banks is a major risk. And if they're not maintained, a floodgate falls off, it'll be a big one, there'll be a lot of backflow. But Kaitaia is very prone to, when the river's full and you get more rainfall, it's not going to get into the river, it's going to pond the urban areas. So it's very important to get the channels functioning really well, so that the first lot of rain gets gone, and then the rain from the water catchment, the Takahuri, the Tapuri and Victoria, it's probably about 8 hours away before it hits the peak. So we hope to get rid of all urban water before that arrives. Kaitaia is a major risk if you get 2 small events, like everything's full, then you get another event on top of it. You get a lot of flooding, but it won't be from the river. Be water that can't get into the river. So yeah, where we come across district council assets in our major scheme upgrade, we have increased floodgate sizes, and we do improve the channel, so you will get rid of water quicker. But yeah, it is a challenge finding anyone at district council to talk to about either drainage or flood control. But Ventia have stepped up and are looking at some things, but I don't know if they are.
So,
Yeah, well, they also have got no budget, but I mean, we're particularly concerned. Our next piece of work is getting the Switzer home more resilient, because you've got like 80 infirm, bedridden people there, and if we have to do an evacuation, half of them got COVID like last time. It's a significant drain on resources. So we have met with them to try and. District Council's got a pumping system down there. I don't think it's been turned on in years, you know. So there is a need to, if you've got assets, they've got to be maintained, and we're happy to work with District Council to try and get get that going.
Before I ask my next 2 questions, when was the last time you talked to Rob, and have you seen any action at all?
2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with Rob, and I just forget who his boss was from
Matthew?
Yeah, I think so. And they were really good. They were going to investigate. We will follow up shortly.
Thank you. So my 2 other questions, one's about mapping the flood hazard mapping. So we've done all this work to get us out of the one flood zone. When will the new modelling be, so that all of our town is out of that, and so the more commercial new builds can happen without?
We are running a new model, have been running a model rerun. We out in a number of weeks, new maps will be produced. Every piece of work we do, and every time we change something, changes the model. So it's work in progress. So if anyone wants to know their flood hazard classification on their property, they just contact our rivers team from May and report on the property. Max. So it does it down. Talk to me, I'll arrange for it. But it's a work in progress and it's upgrades. For example, work we're doing down the Ponakami Spillway is going to lower the flood heights by over at least half a metre just by doing stuff and doing it, and that's significant in a flood.
Mm-hmm.
So it changes all the time. And these new spillways we put in will change them.
So my last question was about risk from insurance, because we had, Auckland's had this giant, multi-million-dollar buyouts of houses from urban stormwater, and obviously if the flood stop banks break, NRC is one entity, but we're another. I will ask the same question to our staff: what insurance do we have? Because we're not a big council like Auckland.
Yeah. The scheme assets are insured. That's it. So if we get a major event like Hawke's Bay, we went down there a few weeks ago to have a look around. Massive devastation, billions basically, hundreds of bridges, houses, everything got taken out. So some are insured, the ones that are insured are being fixed, and the ones that are not are desolate. It's quite sad. Loss of life, of course. But our scheme's insured to a degree. We do regular inspections of our assets and they're insured, but we don't insure the town. That's on each individual property owner to insure their own property.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to thank you for coming here, but I'm not sure if everyone on the board here realises how much Peter as an individual has done for the scheme in the town.
Yep.
About delivering this amount of work. The number of the people in his team is incredibly small to deliver such a huge program of work. So maybe our council could learn from NRC and Peter's team about how we can deliver things efficiently and effectively instead of spending huge amounts on consultants.
Thank you.
It's all in-house, their team.
I'd have to say it's not. It's a collective thing. It's a community that's been fantastic, both from all iwi, both from farmers, landholders, everybody fed into the plan, and we've got really good buy-in, and that's what's made this program very successful, because everyone's got a common enemy in terms of flooding, and the challenge is getting a fair deal for everyone, make sure everyone gets a certain level of protection, because there can be winners and losers in flood control. So I try very hard to get a fair deal for everyone. And it's just been really great from our councillors and regional councils and likes of Shane Jones to make this happen. Zucano, fantastic.
Sorry. So has the PGF funding covered the work that's needed, or is there more work to be done?
We've got about 8.5 million for this area. We need 15. So the rest is the Northland rate payers are paying into a fund, and then we also have targeted rates within this flood scheme where people pay so much for flood control. So I think the slide I showed is the locals pay 13%.
Yeah.
The rest is either picked up from Kanoa or the general ratepayer.
Yeah. So you've got a budget to do more work, have you?
We are nearing the end of our major upgrade, and we used all that money up because we didn't want a single cent back, of course. So we've used everything up and some. So, and that will be paid off as we rate going forward.
One last question, thanks.
Through the chair. Peter, a lot of the local communities we work with, they're all doing emergency response plans. How do we tap into that one?
Yes, we have a civil defence officer based in Kaitaia with Sarah Boniface.
Okay.
She's in charge of this plan. She's really well connected. She helps with community response plans, things like that. So, works very closely with everybody up here.
Yeah.
So just make that contact.
It's not a question, Madam Chair, it's just a statement to the board because I need backup when I go on about stormwater. But what we've heard Peter say today is that we need operational funding for stormwater to maintain the assets or they will fail in the time of a flood event.
Yeah.
And I know we've got some staff online, but I think that we need to have a strong conversation with our operations to
Happy to
ensure
work
that
with
happens.
the likes of those that want to do it.
Absolutely.
We don't want our CBD going over because
Oh.
like that can be maintained.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Peter. I really appreciate your input into this. And it's about saving Kaitoia, really, because this is our main town that services all of Te Hiku. Everyone does their business. So we really have to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And everyone pays in this area. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Two more, Lee.
Yeah.
Loads.
No retiring.
All righty. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
My beef.
So now we're going to have the first of the speakers online, Nick Carroll, who's representing the Momentum Trust. Welcome, Nick.
Not online yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, Nick's not online, so we'll go to Joe Lynch, who is representing Alpaca Thompson.
Kia ora. Hi there, can
Hi,
you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Hey, thank you very much for taking a look at my application. So I have applied for 2 young people to attend our 7-day youth development voyage on the Taka Thompson. So I'm sure there's a few of you in the room that understand what it is that we do, but I'll give you a very brief overview of our program and what we're aiming to do with this funding. So we run a youth development program on our tour ship in the Bay of Islands, and it's focused on just our youth from Northland. They head out for 7 days, and they go out and they do all the things that you would imagine. They learn to sail, go fishing, go hiking, swimming, snorkeling. But ultimately what we are trying to do is create a sense of belonging. So they come not knowing one another, which is often very terrifying, but it's very deliberate for us. They get to leave behind, I'm the naughty one, I'm the big sister, I'm the loud one, and they can come and be who they truly are. And so every single voyage, we have these really consistent outcomes. They bond together very tightly, and we see significant changes from the start of the voyage to the end. And it's mostly related to their self-confidence, their self-esteem, their understanding of who they are. And most commonly they say, I can just do so much more than I ever thought that I could. So we have Otago University track our progress from day 1 to day 7, and we have 5 years of data that tell us that is exactly what happened. So really confident in our delivery. And what I've applied for the funds for is that we want to make sure that our young people in the far north have access to this program. And ultimately that we find some young people that couldn't otherwise support themselves to go. So our organisation is funded by a tourism product in the summer, a lot of individual grants and sponsors, and we subsidise all of the places. And this would be one of, 2 places for young people out of your region. We take youth from 14 to 18, an equal mix of boys and girls, and the majority of our kids are Māori, and tikanga is an important part of our delivery. At the end of the program, we are looking to support our young people into education and employment, and we have a range of ways that we do that. But what I think I'll do is I'll stop talking, because you probably know a fair amount about the taka, and let you ask me some questions.
Any questions for Joe from the floor, please?
So, Bill Zabriskie, is your program accredited? Or are you registered as a PTE or PTO, sorry?
No, we're not. So our education program is maritime. So we put our young people through a Maritime New Zealand qualified deckhand certificate, and then we guide those young people into work. So I went to the operators in the bay and said, what is it that you need on your boats? They said, we need young people who can throw a line. And I said, I've got 250 of those for you. And so we built a program with the support of the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs that does exactly that. We train them, qualify these young people with that certification, and then place them into work. No, we are not an official training organisation. We just put that together ourselves.
Thank you. Just as good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further questions? Well, thank you so much, Joe. We'll be considering your application further on in the meeting.
Thank you, ka kite.
And we now welcome Wiramu Britain, is it? And Rangi to the meeting.
Morena. Whoopsie. Sorry, just give some at the moment. So morena everyone. I can see myself.
For you, Wiramu, for you to chair, can we just get one mute when the other's talking? Sorry, it's just doing feedback, giving feedback. Thank you.
Oh, is it working now?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Morena everybody. So my name's Wiramu. I'm the Te Puna Wairora manager here at Te Rangi Aniwa. And I've got Te Rirangi, who's our principal, up here on board as well. Today we represent MESH, whānau Sports Support Group in collaboration with Te Wānanga o Te Rangi Aniwa, which is a charitable trust. Our mission is simple yet profound. It's to foster community engagement through sports, promoting health, whanaungatanga and culture.
Ka pai, kia ora tātou. I just wanting to talk about our current situation in terms of our funding before we go deeper into the proposal. We've currently been able to secure 50% of our required funding from two of our sources, one being Te Wānanga, who was able to give $1,000, and the other was Te Hiku Hauora, who've been that have secured 13,375. So yeah, however, we still have an additional amount to be able to do this project, which is the painting, which is an amount of 14,375, which is why we're here today. Ka pai. Back to you, Woody.
Cool. So the heart of the Punawai and the initiatives is the community. From swim programs to adult groups, schools and our facilities cater to a wide range of individuals. So we have a couple of swim clubs that use our facilities from Monday to Friday. So every afternoon we have the community use from Monday to Friday in the mornings. So it's pretty much used from anywhere between 12 to 14 hours a day, so never really gets a rest. And it's to cater to a wide range of individuals promoting healthy lifestyles. Some recent achievements as of term one. So with the closure of the town pool, we recently hosted the Central and Western Zones swimming sports, and we also hosted the Te Hiku swimming sports. So yeah, that was quite a few members. The urgent repairs that are currently needed are the internal painting of the Punawai, our heat pumps. The major job that we need done is the resurfacing of the pool. It hasn't been touched within the last 20 years since it's been established, and also updating of the signage inside.
Aye, so I just wanted to tautoko wiri on that. In terms of the repairs, it's been a long time where the Punawai has been open. We've established the Punawai in 2003, which is about 20 odd years ago. And yeah, just trying to maintain the pool has been a little bit difficult recently. And trying to deliver a safe, functional facility that's able to continue serving our community. Yeah, it's quite an important resource. However, I just wanted to highlight some of the historical context of our Punawai. Just during the last 20 odd years, FNDC haven't really contributed to our facility, yet our cause. So despite our unwavering dedication to our community, it's been a little bit difficult for us up at Te Rangi Aniwanua, let alone our support group, to be able to continue to run this facility. So in light of the challenges and the achievements, we're just humbly requesting the support of the Te Hiku Community Board to be able to assist us so that we can not only address some of the urgent repairs for the Punawai, but also continue supporting our whānau, kura, whānau, and our community. To be healthy, a healthier community. Hi.
Thank you. Is there any?
Just a quick question. Make sure what's the lifespan of the paint? Like, once you get it painted, what would the lifespan be of that? Like, how often do you have to get that done?
Are you speaking of the internal painting?
Yeah, like a resurfacing and painting the whole.
So the internal painting of the actual building itself is around about 10 years, but the resurfacing of the actual pool should be done every 10 to 20 years, as far as I'm aware.
So just one question from me. So I'm hearing that is this the first time that the pit will be inside painted, like painted inside where you're requesting? This is the first time. So this has been on your schedule of maintenance right through for 30 years, or whatever time the pool's been open for.
Hi, can you repeat that again? Sorry, what was the question?
So
Put it on mute. Yeah. Nathan asked the question.
So since the pool's been open, obviously there hasn't been a maintenance program for the painting of the inside of the pool, which is what you're requesting the funding for. So was there a schedule of maintenance for that to happen or not? It just popped up because it's painting now or what? I don't know.
Yeah, so typically there is a maintenance cycle that we do follow. However, the Punawai isn't necessarily funded to enable us to be able to repair or paint. Like, we've been working at a little bit of a deficit each year. We've been running the pool because it aligns in with the school and the community. Yeah, there's not much funding that we get every year or annually to help us with some of the painting, hence why we're here. Yeah, that's probably where I can sort of answer that. Woody, have you got any more context to add to that?
Yeah, just basically at this point, it's just overdue for painting of the inside. That's all I can really add.
Thank you. Is there any further questions from the board member?
Is it just quickly, is it to paint the inside of this swimming pool area or inside of the gym? Or both?
Yes, it's the inside of the actual pool area itself, not the pool.
Yeah. But the gymnasium where the
No,
getting
that's
painted is
No, not at this stage. It's just the pool area.
gotcha.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Well, thank you very much for attending online. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You think he might come back later?
Possibly, I've messaged him, he's not responding, so we knew what time.
But that was on. Okay, so we'll go now to Hannah Rio da Silva to give a presentation on the Super Feet Bowling Club. Yes, yes, please go. Welcome to the table. Thank you.
I'm John Raw, and this is my wife Leslie. We're on the panel on the committee organising this project. So
I'm the magician's assistant.
yes, and we have a A4 copy of this presentation for you.
Thank you.
Records.
Sure.
So we're looking at putting a canopy across the top of the existing surface of the bowling club, which is also a bowling club and a sports centre, not just for bowling. The first thing we decided to do, it was important to advise what we're doing in the area, and because out of courtesy, you need to know what. Secondly, we also be in contact with iwi. At the moment, we're talking to Rob Gable, one of the chairs of the coordinating hapu. There's 3 hapu involved, and we're in contact with. We're hoping we're going to end up with carving around the entrance of the actual facility. Just want to point out to you that fundamentally this affects this council, that there's an increase in leisure time happening. The 7-day working week's gone to 6-day working week, gone to 5 weeks. It's gone from 40 hours to 35. We're now heading towards a 4-day working week, and we are looking at shorter hours and people working from home. So what's happened is in the last few years, and will continue, is an increase in the demand of facilities that deal with leisure time. Restaurants, gymnasiums, sports, fishing, gardening, whatever it may be. Increase in leisure time is going to happen. And it is happening right now. And I see this totally off wall, how the increase in leisure time has meant that same people are pushing more. And puts pressure on. Hiku Beach Bowling Club had was established 63 years ago. And that's a long time. And since then, of course, apart from just having the grounds, they put buildings up, they've extended. People have moved into the area because of the bowling club, including my wife and I moved there 25 years ago. We've since moved on. But the bowling club was a catalyst of the Hiku Beach. The canopy extension we're looking at is going to cost 1.7 million. Now, so we're not looking at a minor development on this site or for the community, so it's quite extensive. We've been dealing with a company called Shade Systems Design, who are experienced at building and designing these canopies, which are quite, from an engineering point of view, quite precise. For those that don't know, that's an aerial view of the existing premises, the building and the 2 greens. And we're proposing that the canopy goes over one of the greens, the one further back from the road. And that's the site there. As a matter of interest, opposite there, right about here, is the old power site. That's why it's important that we negotiate and talk to iwi. There's another concept of how it will look. So it's quite substantial, and it's going to bring quite a change to that club. So inside, that's what it will look like. It's all weather. It is able to be used for events other than just bowling. It will have seating. It will have sides where the sides can come up and let airflow go through and all sorts of things. So it's properly done, and it has a very sophisticated lighting system as well. The sports and recreation facility at Coopers Beach is 4 pool tables. There's 8 dartboards. I actually sometimes have more. Large kitchen, which has got professional cooks. A large TV screen. Now, this is all important because the centre is really the hub of a lot of community activity. There are over 250 members in the club. And we have darts. Now, please note there, this is not this size, this is 3 times the size of that TV screen. So when there's All Black matches, World Cups, America's Cup, it's open to the public to come in and view. And they come in their hundreds. And there's a huge kitchen backing it up. So it's an ongoing facility for the community. And we're not talking about, I've been to some clubs with only 12 members. This is not like this at all. It's a very sophisticated membership. Importantly, we're aiming to increase youth membership in line with the National Bowling Club initiatives. Now, what is important is to have an all-weather facility to really attract people from colleges and schools, because they need to be able to rely on scheduling ahead and not even relying on weather. So we're going to be able to go to the schools and put in a program. And one, I understand, down the line somewhere, invited some people, young people, college people, to come to a facility and over 100 people turned up. And it's very important for clubs like this to get the youth involved. And from my age point of view, youth can be 40 and 30. You need to get young people involved. Now, there are also hundreds of camper vans, hundreds per year, come and use the facility. Because it's a typical shop taken the other day.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about 500 camper vans a year just coming into that facility, and they pay a fee for the night, and they use the kitchen, and they use the bar, and so on. Now, also, the facilities are used by clubs, and we have competitions. Boy, the atmosphere when there's a competition against other clubs. So they come from Russell, they come from Whangarei, they come from Kaitaia, they come from all over. So there's hundreds of people involved on a continuous basis. From your point of view, that is a map showing the area of influence, the area that this is impacting on. And you have this centre, and you have the centre in, of course, in Kirikiri, the Turner Centre. They're very important facilities, but this is a different environment altogether from those environments. We haven't done it yet, but we're going to do an economic impact analysis. So when this is up, when it's run, what is the impact economically? The person that I will be talking to on that, unfortunately, is in Spain as we speak, but when he comes back, we'll be having a meeting. We'll come up with a, not too sophisticated, but a ballpark figure of what the impact will be on the centre, on the district, and what then the ongoing thing that will happen in terms of increased patronage. The last stage, we're just about into this now, is for applications. I'm not here to you people to talk about application of funding from major organisations to get this funding off the ground and start the project. So that's it really from us.
Can I just summarise, John, just so that you know I'm not just standing here being I just wanted to summarise and thank John for a fantastic presentation, and to speak as the last words to this project. It's been inspired by a wish to reach out and provide something magical and amazing for the far wider reaching whānau community. And we're talking about reaching into schools, starting at 7, programs planned. There's already Bowls New Zealand has a youth program that we can duplicate. This is our heart and soul going into this. It's not about growing Cooper's Beach Bowling Club for Cooper's Beach. It's about providing an environment that we can reach out to the entire far north with love in our hearts, with integrity, and with being able to bring a non-contact, multi-generational, non-gender sporting process to people who are otherwise sitting on the sidelines because they don't want to be involved in a contact sport. So it's a multi-layered reach that we are doing. It's quite difficult to compound it into 5 minutes, and I'm aware that that's the, I don't want to overstep those limits, but I just wanted that we leave you with this knowing is what backs up all this is actually the integrity behind the providing something amazing for the wider final community. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And is there any questions?
We will keep you informed.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
So I'll just do a couple of questions, obviously.
I love bowls, and I think that bowling thing is fantastic. But what other type of events would you be considering holding underneath the big top?
Can I speak to that? Moved up from Hawke's Bay, there is a club in Hawke's Bay called Bowls Hastings. Bowls Hastings Mother Club is an RSA run system. For 2 weeks every year, they hold an incredible multicultural event, and they put boards down across the green, which is completely covered. They lay special boards down and carpets down, and they have 2 weeks of a cultural event held at that facility. So that is an option of doing that, and we're exploring with them now what the actual technical laying of the boards is about, because it sounds easy, but when you're protecting a surface that's a $250,000 carpet surface, it's got to be done correctly.
Correct.
That's just one of the things. John, what would you add to that?
You could have flower shows. You could have, with protection on the floor, you could have a building supplies show, you could have, which, we commonly, I used to be chairman of the Turner Centre, and the rooms used to be used for display of art, for community meetings, for flower shows, for building product shows, and all sorts, music. So in the economic impact report, we won't factor necessarily all of that into the end, because that's in the future, because we'll be guessing what will evolve. But it's a really good step.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, John Stewart's my name. I'd like to thank you for the presentation. I think what you're looking at there is fantastic for the community. I'd like to say that just the Cooper's Beach Bowling Club recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, has done wonders with the local darts. And I play a lot of darts, and what I can't believe now is we've got, I think, 20 kids playing at the RSA on Tuesdays from 5 years old. They need a step to grab the. They have a step in front of the dartboard, and this sort of thing is positive. But and I don't want to sound negative, but what I also would like I was president of the squash club, and we did all the work down there to get the outdoor tennis done. And one day they want to get lights and everything. I suppose it's around it's okay to build something, can get money to build something, but it's the maintenance afterwards, which I'm sure you guys you're prepared. Yeah. Because it is at one stage it nearly stopped the squash club. The ongoing work.
You raise a very valid point. And only yesterday I was talking to Garth Partridge, who's the North Harbour manager for bowling clubs. And I phoned him because I said, who do I talk to about ongoing maintenance that's been experienced for these sorts of canopies? And he's just put me on to someone and one of the committee members again this week to get the maintenance. I'm not talking about insurance, I'm talking about normal maintenance. Yep. So we'll have that built into our.
So for example, the large marquee that's used for the 90 Mile Beach fishing competition, when that was put, every year it's okay in summer. 3 months it was up at Awanui last year, and it just ruined the whole roof, like from condensation, and it happened without anyone even knowing it would, and it needed a serious clean, and it's 4 meters up, and
So I mean, just thinking out loud, that with our background process working with shade systems, so we have spent a considerable time talking about the technicalities of maintenance and cleaning and condensation. They are leaders in that business. So we have looked at fabric. They've brought us all the fabric samples for the canopy. We've talked about ventilation, condensation, maintenance. We've talked about high wind loading. We've talked about all those kind of things. But what I wanted to sort of just land on is that we're looking at this as a business model. So we are well aware that as a business model, it needs to be self-supporting. So we've already looked into the process of what that looks like. And it's not going to, obviously, from day one when you open a new business, you're not running at full capacity. But we're looking at a process, because we're experienced business people as well as computer folders. So we're looking at a process of making this Covered Green initiative its own business model, self-supporting, feeding back into the community, feeding back into the area as well, working all outside the club as well as inside. So maintenance costs, which John will come back to us with, will be built into our business model as we put that plan into concrete. I hope that makes sense. But it's a really valid point, isn't it, John? Yeah.
And one last question from the city.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Doubtless Bay is the fastest growing Ironi security, and in Hiku it's our fastest growth area. Exponential growth compared to the rest of Hiku. For our board, we have a large number of pools. We have the largest number of pools in the whole district for our board, and pools are paid for out of the board rate for the depreciation of the building and the operational costs. We have a number of old pools that, the members say they're used a lot, but if we actually counted the patronage, statistically, it would never stack up to your 250 members. And also the members are paying a membership. Would it be a good discussion for our board to have further discussions with your entity to look at collaboration? Because just because we have a huge number of old buildings now doesn't mean that we have to continually keep those as assets for council. We may look at other partnership opportunities such as Te Ahu, which is a success because we have combined a whole lot of old buildings that we used to have into one operational model, and council puts in operational funding to have its offices here. So I think that the future of community facilities for both CapEx and OpEx is actually partnerships between council and clubs, which can also be community hubs. Because your site is located adjacent to the main commercial and industrial zone for Pole Township, the title size is large, it's on full reticulation, and it's adjacent to the same highway. It is a full opportunity for the centre of Purple's Beach to actually work with council to address this ongoing for the next 20 years.
That's a fantastic narrative. Honestly, I mean, amazing. Because that's really our outreach, is that kind of conversation. And our real commitment, guys, and this is the truth, is to you. Because as a non-contact sport, you can start bowling at 7 and you can be bowling at 97. This is a commitment to multi-generational youth, parents, grandparents, whānau, extended, everybody. We're reaching out with that kind of, but we can only do that with your experience and understanding of those processes.
Most of the community halls that you're referring to are not up to scratch. So they really are. But the other day I went and had a look at one period, They're just not up to scratch. And so, yes, it makes sense to come to an arrangement with this sort of facility, take the pressure off those other facilities. That is why this tent, shall I call it, is 1.7 million. It's really well engineered for the very reasons that you're talking about. And yes, dialogue on usage is always there.
Fantastic.
And I know what I should say to you too. You may not realise this, but the kitchen in this facility that exists now is twice the size of this room. Just the kitchen for cooking meals. We've just put a new cook in there with professional cooks and people going in there on Friday nights for a meal and all sorts. So we already have those sorts of facilities there backing up what you're suggesting.
It may be a difficult question for our community, but if the community can see either or, not both. The 10 people may say, like, Ohio Hall is the best hall in the community, but then 2,000 people at Doubtless Bay may say, we would prefer our rates to go to this. So I think that's a question either or, because sustainable long-term operation and functionality needs to be walkable within a town centre, have population density and recalculation to allow for growth and increasing the services and allow for operational ongoing longevity.
The other point is that we've got a very substantial off-street parking.
Huge.
Yes, and I'll fund that.
Yes, Adele knows that because you were part of that process, weren't you, Adele?
Well, most of it,
yeah, and it's an astounding success that car park has completely changed the usage of our land at Cooper's Beach, and this canopy is, after months of consultation with Shade Systems, we have refined it to be the most perfect fit for not only bowling under, but for being under.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Good vision.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So Nick, welcome to the meeting. You're now online, I believe.
Hello. Kia ora. I can see myself on the screen. Hi everyone, I'm Nick Carroll from the Momentum Charitable Trust. I'll try and keep it as short as possible, but basically Momentum exists to support people in prison and on probation. We kind of do that in two ways. One is to support life and financial skills programs into prisons and probation centres, so 1, 4 and 8 day programs. And then the other big side of what we do is a mentor program for people being released from prison, which we're kind of in our first pilot at the moment in the men's prison in South Auckland, which is the Serco-run prison. So we have 10 men in prison who have been through the life skills programs. And then we've got 10 volunteers from the community that we've trained to be mentors. And we've created quite a structured program that they go through in their relationship. But basically, to help them once they're released from prison, they get to know each other while they're still in prison. But once they're released from prison, it's so that they actually have someone for a 12-month period who's there to solely support them and kind of off their own back as well. They are volunteers, the mentors. But we give them quite basically like a workshop-based program that they go through together. And that's basically just to help someone get set up and underway in the real world, because it is such a challenge, and the reoffending rates in New Zealand are not good enough, you could say, with 60% of people reoffending within 2 years of release and going back to prison. And I guess for every person that goes back to prison, there's a crime and there's a victim of that crime, or at least one victim of that crime. So as an organisation, we're trying to change that. And I guess there isn't a lot of support within corrections, whether it's in prisons or probation centres, for when people are released from prison. So we're trying to kind of change that as a small community organisation. But what the request that we've made to the Hiku board is for 2 one-day programs to be run at the Kaitaia probation centres. So that's one of those is called Work Ready, World Ready, which is basically everything that somebody needs to be able to gain employment, or the skills and motivation they need to be able to gain employment. So that's everything from creating a CV and leaving with a completed CV, everything to do with job interviews and goals. And then really, I guess the programs aren't just sort of teaching the theory of these things. They're teaching the theory, but they're teaching someone, whether it's someone in prison or even a young person, the minute steps that they need to go through to be able to action that in their lives. And then I guess the kind of the key ingredient of the programs that we support is that they really do motivate people to want to use the skills. And that's kind of the hardest thing. And then the other one-day program is called Money and Me, which is a financial literacy course. So everything from debt, budgeting and savings, KiwiSaver, everything like that is kind of covered in that one-day program. And I guess if we don't, and if community funders don't support the programs into prisons and probation centres, they basically just don't exist for people in there. And I guess from a probation centre perspective, people are coming in there, either they've just been released from prison or they're basically serving a community sentence, which is when they've done something wrong, but it's not bad enough to go to prison, and they've got community hours. And rather than doing something mundane like picking up rubbish, they can actually, if the programs are available, they can actually go onto a program and do 6 or 7 hours of their community sentence, actually learning something that's going to benefit them in the future, them and their family and their whānau as well. That's basically it. Is there any questions?
Through the chair, Nick, John Stewart, I like the last bit you said around instead of being around picking up rubbish or something there, because I was going to ask you how you get the engagement from them. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you might have 20 people sign up and say they're going to be there. Yeah. Do they have to be? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No is the basic answer. They don't have to be there. So how it kind of works is people are signed up for the program. They don't always turn up, but basically people will just turn up on the day. And then no one wants to be in the life skills programs, because I feel like life skills programs have always been boring and people don't want to be there. But once they actually sit down and start doing the program, we've been doing this quite a long time, they actually enjoy the program. They see the value in it. And I think we included some debrief reports from past Life 101 programs and probation centres. You'll see the feedback, and that's direct feedback from people. It's good stuff, and it's all these people are from the Kaitaia community that are going there. I actually remember there was one person, a lady, went to one program up there. It was on the Friday, the Work Ready program. On the Saturday was the Money and Me, and she actually brought her husband along to the Saturday Money and Me program because it was so good, and he wasn't serving any community sentence. So they're actually kind of fun and engaging programs, but teaching people kind of exactly what they need for the real world. Well, yeah, for the real world.
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair. Nick, Bill Zabriskie, does the program have links with the DHB and stuff like that, because of the drugs, effect of drugs and alcohol in a lot of these cases?
So corrections they do a good job in that space, whether it's in prison or in the community around drug and alcohol. That's not really what we're kind of supporting is the life and financial skills aspect of somebody's life. And one day program will only be sort of 6 to 7 hours, and kind of the facilitators that run those, they're kind of getting through a lot of the content, you could say. But those are more specialised services. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further questions from board members? Thank you so much. I truly appreciate your interview and looking at your application for the role.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time.
Yes. So I'd like to introduce you to Josh Kirby, who is the chairperson of the Kaitaia Business Association. So Josh, you've come along today to meet the board. So if you'd like to sort of meet everyone individually first, or just give a little overview of what you're...
Say hello.
Chair, grab a chair.
I'll say thanks to people that I can reach. Hello, Josh. Excuse me. I'll get around to the rest of the team. Kia ora koutou, my name's Josh, Chair of the Kaitaia Business Association. I haven't been with the association very long. Monty Knight came knocking on my door back in June with a piece of paper and couldn't take no for an answer. And then I got voted in as chair in September. So this is all very new for me, working on community projects and on behalf of the community. And we're very grateful to have John in our meetings on a monthly basis. And I must say I've found a sense of drive and passion for what John does and what the community does here. There's a lot of passionate people that work very hard, very long hours on the back of their day jobs to try and move this community forward. And it's very inspiring. So I'm here today. I reached out to Adele. I just wanted to, I guess, pop along to my first community meeting here. I just wanted to meet some people and learn some stuff and see what goes on here. I've had a nose through the agenda and, just interested to meet you all and to learn some more and rest from there. So that's why I'm here. Hopefully you don't mind me filling out over here.
Just say who you are, Rachel.
I'm Rachel Belfley, and I used to be the chairperson of the Business Association
very good.
many years ago. So yeah, I understand. Welcome, and we're keen to get to know you. What's your business? How did you?
I'm down farmers. 4 minutes down farmers. That's my day job.
Yeah, right.
My skin home.
Thanks. Spend a lot of time with me. My kids.
Welcome.
Kia ora, Josh. Felicity Foy. I'm the councillor for this area, and there's also a second councillor, Mary Radit. I've worked closely with the previous chair of the KBA, so I actually don't have your contacts, so it'd be great if you could share that with our boards, if you don't mind, just so that we can connect. And I think there's a meeting next Wednesday, and just for me to come along and speak about the LTP. Yes, but it would be great to have discussions about your aspirations for the town and if they're aligning with our board, because how we work within our community board is, I see my job is to champion the ideas and aspirations of the entire board, but also we collaborate with the KBA as a key stakeholder within the community. And we've used seed money through the KBA and the community board to achieve what we've done with the town for the last 3 years. So a key relationship for our entire great area of Hiku.
Hey, Josh. Bill Zabriskie, I'm the elected member of Kurri Aonui area, Tidby. Also the chair of Only Progressive Local Ratepayers Group. This is home. Enjoy the work.
Cheryl Bainbridge, Doubters Bay representative.
And I'd just like to, Josh knows myself, but he's done a fantastic job, guys. Taken over from Andrea. I don't know if anyone will want to do that. But Josh is, just consistently in touch and coming up with ideas. So well done. And I know you're as busy as anybody else.
Appreciate it. Darren X, North Cape Subdivision, Hiku Community Board member.
Kia ora, Josh, and I met you at the Kaitaia Community Airport meeting. So, Hilda, how can Harawira, kai ni era Māori. Hilda.
And this is our wonderful Bev down the end here, Josh. Community Board Coordinator. General help. Yeah. You don't want her on your case, mate.
Never mind, it's up. All right, kia ora, facing.
This is we've done our minute taker for today, and Blur in the background there, and Catherine.
I am the funding advisor.
Thank you. You know Peggy, don't you? You know, we've been in touch.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Meeting.
Okay, so we will now get on with the business. Steve, or would you like a break first? Steve? Julie? Or Julie?
We-
Julie. Thank you, Will. Can you please pause the live stream? So we're going to adjourn for 10 minutes. Thank you. Who's next?
He's Harley Alexander.
All day yesterday.
Just an FYI, the room is not muted, whānau.
So first of all, I would like to do the apologies and conflicts of interest. So there has been no apologies. Is there any conflicts of interest?
I will with the Niwa one.
Okay, thank you.
I'll leave the.
Okay, I'll move it. Do I have a second?
Darren.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you.
Aye.
Done that. And now to the confirmation of the previous minutes. Point 1. Has everybody read the minutes? I'll move it.
Well, second.
Thank you. No errors. All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, before we head off into the 7.1, which is the Drainage Committee recommendations and resolutions, I'm going to put on Fiona King to give a little deputation around when we had the Drainage meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
The reason I'm here today is having gone through the LTP and finding that the drainage targeted rates have been in Motatanya zero for the next 3 years. And the budgeted income was different to the rating income. I've been working with Tanya because all the staff that we had actually been working with before have left the council, so it's an uphill battle for Tanya to be able to get this together. So in order for the LTP to be changed, which needed to be verified by the community board, I needed to come today to ask when you are looking at the drainage district minutes, that if we can put a resolution up to ask that the drainage rates remain the same in the proposed LTP for the year of 24-25, and the future years can be reviewed in 12 months' time.
Thank you. Is there any further?
There's only a couple of other things with me and my stormwater hat. I'm concerned with the stormwater rating. There is asking for a change from the per capita rate to a targeted rate, to a per assessment rate. I think that's probably a better idea because a lot of people don't actually understand the per rate in the dollar, either of capital or land value. And with the stormwater in Kaitaia, even though we heard Pete Weesing this morning say that he's had talks with Ventia, etc., when you look at the LTP and it comes into your stormwater targeted rate, and then you look at the policy for collecting that rate, it is for capital works. I would like to know what budget is there for actually operational work, because every township in our Hiku ward is rated for stormwater, whether it's Pupanui or Hihi, they're all rated for urban stormwater. And I think that we need to see what operational budget there is for these towns. And I'd like to also see what insurance cover does FNDC have for their assets within these townships should they fail due to their maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
Do you like a public liability type insurance? You know, if they fail and houses get flooded and washed out to sea or whatever. That's what you're talking about, eh? Yeah.
Especially in Kaitaia, when the river's high, we have more than one rain event.
Yeah,
got 2 or 3. The river stays full, the water stays in town. if any of our assets, or FNDC's assets fail, like floodgates, etc., and you flood houses.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That was the answer to my question. That's good. Thank you.
Okay. And then I wanted to raise the issue because I've been looking at the LTP and I will submit, and I hope the community board is able to get the same information as me. And the APARA surge rate was going to go up $441. And when I look on the capital works, there doesn't seem to be any program for capital works for APARA. So I'm wondering why is it going up that much? And I noted that the operational rate connecting of all schemes has gone up by $404. So that means the average house in APARA is going to have another $840 in surge only, not with the rest of the rates. And I think that from that perspective in the community board, we should maybe have your rates at a workshop and look at what this effect, this LTP is before it's adopted by council.
Makes sense. When's it due to be adopted?
When does this close?
31st or 30th or whatever.
Submissions.
Yeah, close at the end of the month.
Sort of closed this Friday.
No,
No,
that's
NRC. NRC.
And the other big one is I thought pensioner housing was to be no longer a council responsibility, but they're actually showing $4 million in the budget for each of the next 3 years, and that's a lot of capital that could be used elsewhere. And when it comes to the roading, what do you call it, Transport Alliance, I was concerned to see that we have local road improvements of $8 million this year, but then 14 the next financial year and 13 the year after. But in this financial year, we seem to have Twin Coast Trail Cycle, $4 million. And it looks to me like at this budget that they're actually taking money off roading for the cycle track. Now, I wanted to know, is that cycle track subsidised money, or is this non-subsidised money that could be going into roading, and could that cycle track actually be pushed out a few more years or small amounts during that year and put into roading? Because roading is the number one thing for Northland. And I mean, I could go on about a few other things, but they were more the big things that were in here that I was concerned about when they say we're fixing storm damage, which is roads and stormwater basically. And I see things like that whereby the budget is used for what I believe is non-subsidised work, including Road to Zero, low cost or low risk, it's new works, Road to Zero, $3 million this year, 3.2 the next year, 3.4 the year after. Has that not been?
Cheryl's brought this up before, and I'm glad you brought it up again, Fiona.
Because they haven't answered. We don't know why. It's no longer government policy. It's ridiculous.
And then you've got low risk walking and cycling at 1.7, 2.8, 2.9 on top of the Twin Coast Cycle Trail of $4 million. I just wanted to raise it that's a lot of money that could actually be in roading. And yes, the other things might have some importance, but surely not as high as our roads.
We've got Tanya Proctor online, and would you like an answer to some of the questions in the drainage area about the assets, etc.?
Morning, Tanya.
Kia ora.
Right, I did get your email, but unfortunately up here this morning we have an outage with the cell phones, and then we had an outage with power due to an accident on Aonu Street this morning. Did you hear me? I think I've explained it enough. With the figure that you've given me, our opening or our proposed rate tape that they've shown you is incorrect compared to what is on the rate demand that we are paying this year. It's something that you and I will have to go and talk to rating about, and it looks like the rating in Kaitaia has been charged on the differential and not on a land value price. So I'm a bit worried about where that true income for that area, for the Kaitaia area is. So I'm not sure it would be better if I come to Kaikohe or we talk somewhere and try and get the right figures to be able to start the next financial year. But most of our work this year has been done thanks to Tanya and getting onto our spray contractor. So the work has been done. There's a couple of small areas I need to talk to you about that's been missed, but they're just minimal things.
Through you, Madam Chair. I'm in Kaitaia tomorrow morning. Actually, Fiona, I'll give you a call offline and we'll try and set something up for either tomorrow or as soon as we can. Okay, that would be great. Thank you for that. I know that's all. Those are the small, obvious things that stuck out to me by clicking the page.
Through the chair, what do we do as a board around the Road to Zero budget?
I told them they have.
Yeah, it's up to the councillors to.
Can I suggest that the community board should actually have a workshop with this document and go through it with all your areas in Te Hiku, and then make your submission and questions about what should or shouldn't be in here or why it is. Because you've got to count for Te Hiku when you're in the council and you've got 2 councillors or 3 councillors behind you here. So you've got 10 down
through the
here.
board, Fiona, I'd go through that rating document 10 times. I wouldn't find what you've found.
Yeah.
So the experience, I appreciate what you've done, and in past years it's been the same. Bill and I have been involved with the submissions to the LTP. I don't think any of that comes to me anyway. But I would love to do that, but we need the right people that can actually have the experience to know what they're looking for. That's you. No. Yeah, that's you.
I'm happy to, I spent the other day, the LTP day here in Kaitaia, or an hour or so with Angie and the finance lady, Zakita. Zakita knows her stuff within this whole document. But I'm happy as a member of the public to come and say what I've seen in here.
Makes sense. I'd like that a workshop.
Yeah, it should. So in terms of the LTP, the drainage rates remaining the same for this 24-25 and future years to be reviewed in 12 months' time. That'll be part of our submission. You don't want a separate resolution for that now? Okay, let's do it. I'll move it.
Yeah.
Because we need to do it now in order for it to get through.
Yeah, just getting clarification, that's what I thought, and I'm happy to move it, Madam Chair.
Yeah, we'll just do it as an add-on for me.
Good morning. Sorry, can you just confirm what it is that was just moved? I'm just trying to listen into the conversation.
We haven't moved anything yet.
Oh, did Cheryl just say that she was moving something? Thank you.
Good
item. Yeah.
Well, so what was it, Cheryl, that you were moving? Sorry?
I'm not moving it yet, apparently, but the drainage rates.
To the drainage district.
What's the page you've got the document here?
We haven't done it yet. We're just been listening to what Fiona has got to say.
Yes, thank you, Fiona, for coming and again making yourself available with the level of experience. It's obviously appreciated by the board and us. My suggestion as far as process goes is that I agree with what Fiona is saying in that it needs to be done through an LTP submission. So it's not a recommendation by the board in this meeting is not probably going to give you the effect to achieve what it is you're trying to achieve. The LTP submission process will. So I think that's where that, in order to achieve the outcome that you're trying to achieve,
When it comes to drainage, the delegation of council to community boards is for the drainage committees that report to the community board who signs off that. So there's a specific delegation about drainage, land drainage rates. So if it's about that, then the delegation sits with the community board.
And it needs to be done today because the next meeting is after the closing of the LTP.
Mhm.
That was the advice I got from the financial people in the council the other day up here.
It can also be part of the board submission, of course.
Yeah.
And the board will
Yeah.
be making a decision.
Yes, and yeah. Okay, so nothing's being moved yet. I'm just gonna have a look at a couple things in the background, Madam Chair, through you, if you're okay with that. And I don't want to hold up the meeting at all, but I do just want to make sure, in listening to what the conversation is, that you're able to achieve what it is you're trying to achieve in the right, sort of process. Okay.
So did you hear in the beginning of Fiona's conversation to do with that the rate remains the same for 24-25, or did you not hear that bit?
Yes, I heard that bit.
That's all we're going to be doing as far as the recommendation or resolution around that particular subject. So
It is because the LTP has been written to show that there is zero rating for the next 3 years, and that is the incorrect part of the LTP, and it needs to show that it's correct for the 24-25 year, but not for the other 2 years, and that was the reason why they asked me to come to this meeting today.
I see the flow now, and I see where this is going, and if it's the recommendation from the community board, as Councillor Foy has highlighted, that the delegation obviously sits with the Hiku Community Board to make the recommendation. So if I'll just get in the background here with Emery so that she's able to get the wording correct, but I definitely still suggest that a submission to the LTP by the board, and even you, Fiona, and your drainage committee, as many submissions as possible on this are made in addition to this recommendation.
thank you, Casey. So we'll continue on with the meeting now. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, just while Tanya's there, because I know she's a busy lady, I don't think she was on when we had the presentation from Peter Wiesing, and it was highlighted about the lack of operational budget for stormwater, urban stormwater, particularly for floodgates and the emergency response alarm next to the Switzer home that needs to be kept operational in the case of an emergency flood event. So I think just letting you know, Tanya, that will be brought up to ensure there's a budget in our LTP for OPEX for stormwater about those specific matters, and also how it interrelates with drainage, just so it's not a surprise. And we'll take that offline to see what the numbers need to potentially look like.
Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Councillor Foy. I will watch it back and catch up on that, and then have a conversation with you at some point.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. And Tanya, can you just come back to the board to let us know what the operational budget is for stormwater? Because I'm struggling to find too much in the LTP. I can see capital, and I can see that the policy for stormwater is for the rate take is for capital work, but I can't see where the operational budget is.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tanya. So on to the Drainage Committee recommendations and resolutions on 7.1.
Through you, Madam Chair, could I make a suggestion? I think that Cheryl, if you're happy as the mover, or if I just explain how this might look, if Cheryl is the mover of an alternate or an alternative motion, to include what's on the agenda which will also then include and that as a D. The Te Hiku Community Board recommend to council that the drainage rates remain the same in proposed LTP for 24-25 and future years to be reviewed in 12 months' time. And then you'd need a seconder for that alternative motion. Does that achieve what the conversation was?
Yeah,
Are you
I had
happy?
that yeah.
Sorry, Cheryl?
Yep, I had that worked out.
Yeah.
Oh, so
yeah, add it down the bottom.
That was going to be the D. So do we,
did you work out a seconder?
No, we haven't put it yet.
We're doing it now.
Copy.
So we'll do a D. Yeah, so you've got, that's the count.
Sorry.
Just as Stacey said.
Cheryl's got it there on her paper, Emery, if you need it.
That the Te Hiku Community Board recommend to council that the drainage rates remain the same in proposed LTP for 24-25 and future years to be reviewed in 12 months' time.
That's right. So that's in addition to all of these recommendations. Yeah.
So you're moving it?
Yeah,
One or second. So is it, excuse me, is there any discussion on any of these reports?
No, it sounds like Tanya's doing a good job here.
Yeah. I attended all the meetings. So
Madam Chair, just an update to the board as well. Councillor Radich is appointed to the Awanuiroa NRC working group. There was a resolution at the last council, I think John's on it.
I was on it some time ago, and when Bill come along from I thought we'd been changed, but I don't mind, just because it was coming down to his neck of the woods.
Yeah.
No problem.
Then, the councillor is Councillor Radich, and he also holds a waters portfolio.
Okay, yeah. So have I just newly been appointed, Felicity, or is it a...
Yes, newly.
Okay.
yeah, committee, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well done. Good old Maddie.
So is there any further discussion on these minutes? All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. So we go to the 7.2, which is the winter 2024 rural travel funding applications on page 25. I'll move it. Do I have a second, please? Okay.
TDA.
Thank you.
Through the chair, you'll see there are two that we recommended be declined.
Yes, I see that.
With the basketball club, we did actually go back to them and go, as you've submitted, it is ineligible, and gave them the opportunity to resubmit. They did not do so. And with O2, we referred them on to Manawa funding through Sport Northland because they're eligible to apply for that fund. But now the things have been split out. So we didn't just leave them to lie.
Thank you. No, you've done a sterling job with this money. That's fantastic.
Through the chair, Catherine, is this travel fund? I know there's been some cuts in event funding and other things going forward. Is the travel fund How's that funded again?
Now, it's funded by Sport New Zealand.
Yes.
We've got one more year left on the contract, so another $25,000 total across all three boards coming in.
Yeah.
We don't go beyond that because it's a government.
But it is there next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've got one more year left on the contract, so yeah. Then we just hope that they'll roll it over again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone happy with this? Any good questions? All in favour? Okay.
I'll disappear for a bit. I don't know if there's anything else after that. See. That's cool.
We're on to 7.3 now, which is the funding application. So we'll just go through each one separately. We've got the Momentum Charitable Trust for $2,270.
Budget 60.
Pardon?
68 in the community grant and 61 in placemaking.
Yes, yes.
Just that. And 30th of June.
I don't mind moving this one. I think it's a good cause. It's interesting when it's hard when you're doing a local application and it's coming from the CEOs from down the line and that. But I think if it's supporting the our local people and the probation side of things, especially, I did have those questions around how do you make sure they turn up? But I suppose if some of them were offered the opportunity not to pick up rubbish and go to one of these classes, yeah, and it's not a lot of money, so
no, it's not. Yeah, based on how many they're going to work with you, right? So it's nothing.
Specialised type thing too.
Oh, it is, man. Yeah.
Probably does need to be from.
And I'd like to, it's probably something I'd like to see the report on.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we put enough emphasis in those reports. Catherine, do you read those reports? You probably do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also.
We're actually being conversation about all of that after this meeting as well.
Yeah, I saw that, which I'm quite interested in. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll move that $2,270.
I'll second. No, second. Yeah.
All in favour?
Aye.
They actually at Cooper's Beach, I quite like these life skill things. They're having cooking classes and it's like, cooking on a budget. And, bringing, for example.
You mean the Momentum?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know whether it's for these people, but it's something they could probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, they work well and a lot of people go to them.
We're on to the Tucker Thompson Youth Trust now for $4,000.
I'll move.
So,
I'll second it.
yeah. Any discussion around it?
Constantly. Successful. It's a great thing.
Yeah. All in favour?
Aye.
So now we're on to the Anianua repainting the inside of the blue hall. Would you like to go into public exclusion on this one to discuss it frank and freely about the public?
You have to have a reason why.
Well,
Yeah.
I just know that it's out of a different fund. It's out of the placemaking fund. I don't know if anyone else noted the different bucket that is proposed.
What are the reasons for going into public exclusion, Emery?
well, quite often
Oh, no, but there's a list of them in standing orders.
I just note too that on the quotes are for painting the gym, not for painting the pool. So the interior paint of the gym to the height of 2.8 metres, 25,000. The other quotes for to repaint gym, 2.55. And then there's one for all interior walls of the Punawai. So I'm not sure why they've got quotes for the gym and then.
Through the chair, that was questioned too, down from here somewhere, and they did say it was for the pool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think possibly.
Maybe whoever quoted it just
Yeah,
assumed.
just assume there is some gym gear in there in that room, a little bit down there.
Yeah,
well, it used to be.
Yeah.
This is. I've got an opinion that this has been.
Are you happy to do this on public or go to public exclusion?
I don't know why we know.
Yeah, have they public.
Public, yeah.
That's fine. I just asked the question.
I don't know what's going to happen with the new pool, but this has been a lifesaver for exercise and the community over the years. For the last 20 years, everyone's been using it. I know Dave Collard uses it religiously when he can.
Yeah, it's 5 of them in the morning.
Yeah. But, well, I used to use it when it was first opened. So I think we need to understand that it's been
for the community.
Yeah, it's been widely used, and I'm not sure what happens when the new pool opens. But at the end of the day, the maintenance that's required is because the community has been using it for so long. You know,
Dave said it's an extra 8k into town from his place, so some of them will still be using Te Rangi anyone.
Yeah. I mean, I want to support this. I'm not sure how much we can.
Yeah, I would like to ask why it hasn't been part of the maintenance schedule.
Yes, that's what the question
You
was.
asked it.
I think everyone's in a club scene. We've all got maintenance schedules and without the funding to complete it. That's my opinion. With I know with the squash club we had so many things that we tried to do every year, and oops, next thing, we need some more money because we haven't done it. But
It's a lot of money. 28 grand to paint it is. It's a lot of money for them to come up with.
Madam Chair, what is the reason for it coming out of, or being recommended that it comes out of the placemaking fund? Why can't it just come out of the grants and donations account, please?
Chair, it can come out of your grants and donations if you prefer.
Should we?
But it is about placemaking, so whichever bucket you choose to put it from, that's your decision.
I think it's maintenance, it's not placemaking.
I think so
It's
too.
your decision to.
yeah, so we've built decks on Tekui Hall, and we've done that sort of thing in the past. I mean, it's similar, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not placemaking.
No, I agree, Phil.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just for the facility there, it's not just the pool as well. There's the adjacent basketball facility, and to be honest, I'm extremely surprised, and really grateful to Aniwaniwa as a school to have established that facility in our community. Our council hasn't given any money to that basketball facility, and it's a multi-million-dollar facility, and it's not just used for basketball; it's used for many events, and it's attached in the same building to the Punawai. Personally, I know many families, let alone individuals such as Dave Collard, that use that pool and have used that pool for many years. So although we're going to have the new pool in town, I also appreciate that that facility is there for the people that live further out of town, is identified further north, but also I think that it's well used and will continue to be well used even with the new pool opening, because there's such a strong demand for people for swimming, swim schools, and competitive swimming and other swimming sports. So, yeah, I think that the contribution from the community board really is a reflection that our council should have helped them historically with both operational and CapEx, and we should have collaborated better, and I think that we can do better in the future going forward as an entity, and we should have those discussions.
Through the chair too, I just want to add to the discussion. Our martial arts group was in transit. We couldn't find accommodation. Those guys came, gave an area up above the courts for us while we're looking for alternative accommodation. They didn't charge us, so again, it's back to that community. Yeah, Aroa and use. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, my concerns have been addressed.
maybe we just need to confirm
But I think it needs to be out of the community grant fund.
Yeah.
that the quote is for the,
Yes.
because the two of the three quotes is for the gym.
Well, it says it's repainting the inside of the swimming pool, so it does say that. So hopefully that's where the money will be spent and not on the,
Okay, so what do we move? How much money do we move?
Moved a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be good.
Yeah, move a lot.
I'll move the lot.
The community
grant fund.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you. Out of the community grant fund. Thank you. All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you.
Tell Hilda she can come back in, please, Bev, if you can, please.
We're now up to 8.1, which is the
Project funding reports. Yeah. 7.4.
Oh, it's a 7 point. What's that?
73.
Yeah, what's that? I guess we're done. Pages over. Sorry. Up to 7.4, which is a project funding report. I beg your pardon. So I'll move this. Do I have a second of this?
Yep.
Okay. There's a report received from the Kaitoa Knights Chess Club. Excellent. We've been able to help this little group.
You got some reading tonight.
How did you get that?
Exactly. But you're not telling
Are you happy with this report? Any questions on it?
I'm pretty good.
All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Now on to 8.1, which is the information report on the open resolution report. Just I'll move it. Any second, please?
Madam Chair, there's just one item, particularly the first one, about the North Park toilets, and I can see that Tanya Proctor is online now, but we followed up about that matter as well as the Taipa placemaking, the project that we've been working to for a number of years, and I know the North Park toilet has been, I think, 6 years. We've been waiting for that, so Tanya's been really helpful and has addressed the concerns and for the toilet to be in the road reserve to get a licence to occupy from the Northern Transport Alliance to go ahead with the toilet. So there will be funds in year one of the long-term plan. Tanya's updated.
It's to be carried on.
Yes, Tanya's updated that and confirmed that a structure can be in the road reserve with a licence to occupy. And we've got a number of places that can go. So that was really helpful, Tanya. The other matter that was raised about is the Taipa placemaking, and that our board has been, I think it's 3 years, we've been working towards it as our key number one area, along with the staff and the placemaking team. And we're to meet on site on Thursday. And the question of Tanya's, the General Manager of Strategy or Infrastructure Strategy, is delivering parts of the project that don't require consenting. So she's coming back to us about parts of the project we can deliver within year one, and identifying and staging the other parts that might require a consent, such as a pump track, etc., that will need also consent into later years, like year 2 or 3. So she'll come back to our board to confirm that before Thursday, she said, so we can have those discussions on site with staff. And also we've got Tina Yates from Parapara but and I think Trudy as well, coming along, and I'm not sure about Tiger from Kenana, but I know that Trudy updates. So yeah, it'll be great. We need to have Thursday.
Midday, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was our number one project for our board, and just appreciative to Tanya for asking those questions, because the community as well have been asking about progress for that, considering that we have been engaging with them for the last 3 years to get it off the ground. So after Thursday, I'm sure we'll get an update from Tanya about that matter as well.
So through the chair, Felicity, with all your council talk there, I didn't click on the so the toilet. Do we have to worry about the toilet anymore as a community board? The North Road, North Park.
There will be money in year one for it to be delivered. The carry forwards, the money in the carry forwards.
Okay, no, it's just
year one. As per
at the last meeting, there was discussion around the community trying to get permission from the Gold service station again, so we don't have to do any of that because KBA were going to be involved as well. Well, we're going to be approached.
It can go on the road with it.
Okay.
Right.
Anything else from
Madam Chair, at what point are we going to get some financial reporting? Because before the end of the year, we'll need to know what's in our placemaking and what is in our community grants fund. Something like this boardwalk at Paewhenua, there's a lot of community interest in progressing this, and it may be that we can allocate some funding to it, or maybe not, but we need to know what money we have available.
We really need to have that conversation with holdings views. Coming back.
I get that, but at the same time, we do not know at this point how much is in our community grants fund or how much is left in our placemaking fund.
Through the chair, on your funding application report every single month, you do actually have that information. It's the very top of the report.
It is. Oh, sorry, Catherine.
To make sure that's up to date every single month, to make sure you have the latest.
Because I was having trouble trying to reconcile all those other figures.
Yeah, that's why I put it there, and it's like, it's in bold, it's there.
Probably just as I did.
Okay, it's in bold for the keeper.
Yeah. No, because I hated having the fights with finance when we didn't agree on our numbers, so now I make sure we do.
Okay, so there's a considerable amount of money here. We can't carry it forward, I don't believe, unless it's committed, so we need to be looking quite hard in the next 2 months at what we're going to commit it to. Thank
We've got 2
you.
months on applications.
That's right.
We have got those discussions.
Through the chair, before the June meeting, when you have to make your final allocations, do you want to have a workshop so that we can go through and make sure that we've got any projects that you highlight and make sure that we can allocate funding?
Yes, please.
Make sure.
Madam Chair, we can probably get rid of the last resolution, which is the Rangitoto Recreation Reserve, because I see there's going to be a hearing sometime soon. So the process is going, you know.
Probably after the next board meeting we can do that, because perhaps or even in June, because we're having our hearings before the next board meeting at 9 o'clock. Is that right? Is that, you know, you're having a
Madam Chair, I won't be able to be part of the hearing because I'm a submitter.
Well, I'm not got 2 years there in that one.
Madam Chair, it's not one of the open resolutions, but I just wanted to table with the board about the skate park in JC Park. It's having a lot of work done to it, and our board wasn't updated. We weren't shown any concepts to get any feedback, and it was actually a surprise about it commencing work, let alone any design aspects into the key green space for our whole town centre. So
I guess through Bev, can we ask that the concepts for and the budget for whatever they're doing in the skate park please be tabled with us, and for any key renewals works that have been done in key spaces that community board has a delegation for, please can the staff talk to us before it happens so we can get feedback, because for example that placemaking money there, we could have collaborated with that project and had a good outcome with other key stakeholders in the community if we'd just known. And I don't know what the budget is, and I don't know what the timeframes are, and it's being asked all the time about what's happening, and I have no idea. And it's disappointing because that's our delegation as a community for recreation and open spaces. So I'm not sure why we're not in the loop for that site.
That's good.
And I can see Bev's typing. So thank you, Madam Chair, for letting you raise that.
Perhaps that can be brought to our attention at the next community board meeting. For staff, please.
Or just email out to the board.
Right person for update us. Yeah. Thank you. Is there anything else on the pages? All in favour?
Right. Might as well finish the meeting first.
Yeah, we might as well finish.
Yeah, oh yeah, we are. Just like,
Let's not do without lunch.
yeah. There's something on after lunch though.
Yes. Yeah, there was a couple of things.
20 minutes of
We're up to, did I say we're in favour?
Yes, you did.
Yes, we're going to 8.2, Chairperson and Members' Reports. We have a move in a second, please.
Yeah, I'll move it. Second, Bill.
Okay. So my report, I did forget to put something in there. As a council meeting on the 14th of March that I didn't put in. So otherwise, just take it as read. If there's any questions from the members, my report, please. I'll be attending this next sports hub meeting next Monday. So perhaps there might be some sort of date for opening, maybe. And hopefully, a date for opening. Yeah. No questions, no? Okay, thank you. Darren, is it?
You can take mine as read. There's nothing out of the ordinary there. Thank you.
Nothing else to discuss out of it?
Not really, no. It's just what I've been doing. There will be things to discuss in the future, but they haven't happened quite yet.
Okay. John?
Thank you, Bev, for the reply on the RFS there, which is in my report. Escalated to Fulton Hogan. I don't know if we've heard anything else. I did put a couple of ideas. I actually, I don't know, I like when I'm travelling around seeing things that could work in our communities. So I put a Manu platform there in the middle of, I thought could go on a couple of our wharfs at some stage, maybe not as elaborate as that one. But that is so popular for our kids and everything that, diving off these wharfs. And I notice it at Hobart, especially now that I've got doing the commercial side of things, they're all mixed together. So people are trying to fish while the kids are doing big manus off the wharf and trying to climb the poles with spikes. And I just thought we could have the kids down one end all diving off platforms and ladders and things.
Rather than spikes and holes.
Yeah, and I don't know, I messaged Cheryl while I was in Wellington, what do you think of this? And she loved the idea of the Bukanui, but also they're quite expensive projects, but it's possibly something we can look at with our placemaking. Yeah. I've got a letter this morning which someone copied it in Moko into, and it was a complaint around that hostel next to the Northern Age. So they've been throwing rubbish off their roof because they got that veranda and they've thrown it onto the Northern Age, and last week it flooded. The age would have been 100 mil because they blocked all the internal drains. So I was just going to, I emailed Moko and said, hey, I can talk to Bev about this today. I did email you, Bev, because I know there's a couple of RFSs already in process with that property, and I thought whoever's handling that could get a copy of that letter. Is that, I don't know what the RFS numbers are, but there's been quite a few around the rats and rubbish.
We can have a look at that offline.
Okay, thank you. That's my report. And yeah, thank you.
Helga, would you like to?
Oh, yes, I haven't got much to say other than I do my once a week. What's happening with the Kaitaia Airport, to all and sundry, and get all kinds of nothing answers. But anyhow, that's the main one I'm sort of been pushing. And Cody Dam is progressing really well with Des Mahoney leading it. And I think I find it quite impressive that, we're saving millions of dollars on the project because he demanded to use local operators, and but we've got to be in tandem. The council payment of purchase orders have got to be in tandem because he has one person lined up because before the bad weather comes, and once that person finishes their job, then another person with another truck does their job. And so it's all that sort of stuff. And so he seems to think it should be finished good weather, within by June.
Wow. Done well.
So, that's good. That's maybe him and some of us just interpreting that, interpreting what he's saying. Yeah. I do, Tita. That's the main thing I think.
Can I ask a question? Can I just have some information to go to ratepayers tonight with about the airport? Please.
Yeah. So I don't know much more than what I've written in my reports and the council reports, but it seems to be a blend of two things. With the change of government, there's been a slowdown, and I think my takoto had bought the land, for a nominal fee, and on the proviso that it is an airport and remains an airport. There hasn't been a transfer of the land back to them, and Ngāi Takoto will hold it on behalf of themselves and Ngāti Kahu Mana Whenua, who are in a delayed settlement, if a settlement at all. So the transfer from Crown ownership to that hasn't happened. The council, we have suggested other options about maybe having a different kind of a lease. Apparently we have a lease till the end of December. The council has a lease till the end of December. And so it's sort of stuck there. Ngāi Takoto and Mana Whenua want to, I suspect, I'm not sure, I haven't talked because I'm not privy, is that what part of the redress can be commercial redress. They want the Crown to pay for a lot of the things so that it doesn't come back on ratepayers, but I suspect they also want built into it that they are able to operate some commercial operations on Te Rangi Āniwini, which is the name, or Waionepu, there's two names up there, like whatever they want to do, and that it be managed by a joint management committee, and that they actually get, because they get nothing out of it. technically they get absolutely nothing back when it comes back as an airport, but they just want to have that sort of business enterprise operating. And that's where it's at the moment. And so I harassed Shane, Tama Pōtaka, Simon Brown, and then you get all these massive responses on the email. If it's a matter about this, if it's a matter about that, if it's all that stuff. But I think Shane will be pivotal in cutting through some of this, but that's all I know. Hopefully it's sorted. And the other analogy I say is that Rangianuani was also a sublease of that civil aviation original lease. And the Ministry of Education acknowledged that we're there and that we're there long term. And so we're not hung up. We've got an extension for 10 years up to 2026. So it can happen. It can happen.
Okay. Thank you, Hilda.
Thank you.
I missed the window for my report, but yeah, not much to report. But Jason on Holdings, which was really cool to talk about the town plan and where we sit with that and what action we can take for it and stuff like that. So I'd like to suggest that we invite him to maybe have a small, quick workshop going over the town plan and suggesting, it looks like this, what could it look like, if it was expanded a little bit greater, because, there's actions and there's a lot that they're doing that we probably aren't aware of. I was quite fascinated to listen to what he's up to, and I think we should have another little put-it-all with him about, what's happening and what we can do and where our focus should be. So that'd be...
I agree with that through the chair. Sorry, Rachel, are we talking about, because we could do it at the same time. I really want to go over that rate stuff with Fiona. She's offered. And then we can form our submission, and it might be good to actually tie that report in at the same time, what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's a different discussion.
It is a bit different.
No, it's different, but it's using our time.
Yeah.
If we can have one meeting after the other, it's completely different. Yeah. Well, if we're all going to meet, we might as well do.
Yeah.
He was flexible with his time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Felicity.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In terms of a report, had a number of things. First and foremost, Waterfront Road, Pukenui, and an update for Darren, who's been very patient. And court actually has been progressing the matter through the roading portfolio, because it hadn't been addressed as yet and is included on the list of the slips as a Category 3 slip. So thank you to Councillor Court for her perseverance with that, because it's been a long time to even get that on the list, let alone it's still not fixed, but it's on the list to do the engineering too. I have it sorted, so thank you to her for that, and an update to Darren.
Thank you.
And on the rating, yes, it's topical at the moment with LTP. I attended the Te Ahu consultation meetings here. It is disappointing we've only had one consultation in our area, and I did table that our district does pay a large proportion as a percentage-wise to the district, and that our ratepayers deserve the same level of service as everyone else in the district, and it's not, it shouldn't actually be reflective of where the staff live as to how many consultation sessions are given to ratepayers. So I did voice that on behalf of our community and suggested that maybe we should have 40% of the workforce here in Hiku if we are paying 40% of the rate. So just feedback about that, and also about the LTP. We can move motions in the LTP deliberations to the effect of any matters that you raise. So please don't think that because it's in the consultation document it's set in concrete. Hilda
there's also obviously a councillor there, and there are 11 votes around the table, 10 votes around the table, and so with 6 people we can change any one of those lines, and that's both operational and CapEx and capital projects, and it's always just a motion away. So with any feedback that you have, it'll be important to look at any wording if we're looking to sort out any issues with any formal motions. But it's also a good idea to have the discussions with staff in advance, so it's not a surprise. But the final decision does come down to councillors and motions that we move on the day. So further to that, the rate rise is proposed to be a huge number, and there's been proposals to reduce and potentially reduce costs, and we could do that. You need the number of votes around the table because one person can't change. You need 6 people to agree with that, but 16% is not palatable to many people in the community at this time. So I heard that as feedback. I'm not sure if you're getting feedback on it as well, but it'd be good to feed in your community response back to the councillors and back through a submission as well.
What I'm hearing around the community is it should not be above inflation.
So
there we go. What's inflation at 7%, is it?
Yes. So I think that those types of discussions need to be had, and in terms of level of service, that needs to be considered as well. And that's some of the items that are tabled. And we need some numbers around the service centres and libraries, for example. They're not currently provided. About how much we could save, etc., if we reduce the number. Lastly, just on the river, the flood management rivers, it's really great that Peter came to speak to us this morning, because we are really privileged up here in Kaitaia to have that flood protection. Morewa is now getting the same. If you look through that document there's $3.3 million proposed to be spent for urban stormwater for Morewa. That's out of the general rate. We're all paying for it. So I haven't got details about what that is, but I think we need to also actually get some numbers about what investment we need for urban stormwater here, because there's no point in doing $15 million on the river work if everyone's still going to flood because of our poor urban stormwater network. And Peter, we see in camp today, knows all about that. And it could be our demise as a town because of our floodgates not being maintained, for example.
Are they not in the contract?
So I think these are the types of questions about OPEX funding versus new capital works, like 3.3 million for Morewa, or I think there was another big project in Kawakawa as well for between 1 and 2 million. So when I get that feedback about stormwater from Tanya, I'll feed that back to the board because it interrelates with our drainage. And when we met with NRC last weekend, the weekend prior, that matter was highlighted, and that although they're managed in 3 separate budgets and 3 separate entities, it's all one stormwater network done on a catchment basis, but it's being done ad hoc at the moment. It's not done together. So thank you, Madam Chair, for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, first, my apologies to the for the meeting for not submitting a report. I'll start with the good stuff. Just like to thank everyone that attended the unveiling of the pole down at Unai. It was looking brilliant. Yeah, probably a pretty emotional day for me, but we got over it. And not only in conjunction with that, the Whoppers, we need to sit down now. I'll put an email to council to say it's okay with a couple of things we're still looking at, but it gives us time to find a place for the 4 Waka filter. Yeah. the phone is just starting to ring again in reference to things like RFSs that were placed about 2-3 years ago. And so those are going to basically be reignited. I'll be attending a meeting tonight with the Whakawhiwhi ratepayers, and I know they'll be talking about LTP submissions, et cetera, et cetera. But again, it will be, this is the end of the financial year, so everyone will be looking at what's come, what's passed, and what's not being done. In some of the areas there's a lot that hasn't been done, and to me they're simple. It gets back to the things that I see happening, and I really like, especially the spokesman for that is John Busich, in terms of localism, using local people, getting the job done, minimal cost. So that's something definitely to be looked at. So, no, that's okay. And at the moment, we had a couple of residents and myself went to the police station. We had to kind of try and find some way of whose responsibility it is to manage the beach access by bikes. We've got problems out on the East Coast. I'll be talking to Shane in terms of restrictions of vehicles on the beaches out there. But it's turning into a real problem where some of the locals are just on the brink of becoming criminals. So that's something we've got to address. But otherwise,
Okay.
That's me.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I went to the AGM of the Hihi Hall Committee. They would like a toilet at the back of the hall, and they would like a path on the reserve at the back of the hall. I'm just wondering how we get those into our, not tomorrow, but get them into our strategic plan for some at some stage. Is it?
Yeah.
It is. Oh, that's good. Also, the things that John raised just now, I think they would be quite cool things to do. And is there a way that we can get those into our strategic plan? I don't know how you do it, Bev. Do you?
I think we can put it in there to have it locked in so we don't lose sight of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, obviously, this year people will be looking. I mean, the things I'm getting are overhanging vegetation, footpaths not being maintained and roads not being maintained. That's what people in our community are concerned about right at the moment. But I think that these are quite cool things for kids and for tourists in the future, and we should have them in our plan so that we don't overlook them. I also went to a morning blessing at Taipa for the road work out at the front there. Very good to see something done there. And we have the Northland Regional Council long-term plan submissions closed for that on the 19th of April, which is Friday. Does the board intend to do a submission, and if so, how?
I don't you do it.
Hey? Thank you. While you're lying on the beach in Australia, that's a good idea.
I'll be feeling you.
Did we not do it?
No, we did that for the freshwater policy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this is the actual LTP where they're talking about cutting funding for emergency services. And also there is a concern that was raised by Fiona this morning about the budget for the Kaitaia river works, etc. So I'm happy to draft something up if everybody agrees, and then send it around to everybody, and you can say yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Sounds good like that.
Also looking at funding for sporting facilities.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Can I just add something else? If we can add into the LTP for FNDC, is an alcohol ban. Our Wakaama clubs at Lake Ngātu are recommending that Lake Ngātu have
We're having a lot of problems with broken glass out there, eh?
Yeah, lots.
That's why.
And it's fresh very often. It's not like stuff coming out of the bank.
Yeah.
There's old glass in the bank. But, wheelies down there and drinking and smashing the bottles and leaving it there.
Lie down there at night by the gun or something. Rightio, so there's also the FNDC LTP, and it has been suggested we should fix a date for a workshop, I believe. Can we do that? Later?
Find a date now, or shall we close the meeting?
Whatever you like. And the only other thing I have to raise really, which is in my well-written report not, is halls. Now, I get Felicity's point, which we should have hubs. I don't altogether, I think there is room for other halls. And what's happening is, as you said, down the biggest growth area north of Kerikeri, because the bowling club's actually really well used, and that's good. And there is obviously potential for further use. But what's happening is because that hall and the Monganui Hall are quite well used. For example, they started playing table tennis at Lake Oya, and Vicky Stevens, who's the chairman of the hall, was going to come to this meeting, but I forgot to remind her, and so she's coming to the meeting in May to talk about the things all the things they do there. You don't always see cars there, but it is a well-used hall. And also the Kaingaroa Hall. I was at a rural women's meeting, and the lady from the Kaingaroa Hall said it's constantly being used, so we need to look at, and also the Hihi Hall, which is only a little hall. They're playing table tennis out there too now, and the fishing club's moved out there, and one reason is that the fishing club's for all ages, and there's really nowhere. The Hihi Hall's got this reserve behind it, so the kids, when the adults are doing their weigh-ins or whatever, the kids can play on the reserve, and there's nowhere safe and similar at the bowling club. So just saying that, other halls do have a value. They mightn't be obvious, but yeah, that's about all. You're welcome.
Is it going to be recognized at our workshop?
It should be.
The halls, yeah. Because I think that's a really good example of Kaingaroa Hall, who has really been used a lot.
Yep.
It wasn't used hardly at all.
It's pretty clear there's that Kaingaroa Hall strategy. It's typically community coordinator.
Oh,
Where is it, sorry? At our May meeting.
is it after the meeting? Okay, because Vicky's coming to the actual meeting, so we won't, okay.
Because we've got the hearing for it. We've got the meeting itself on the whole.
Excellent.
So maybe I'll take off lines that we're going to pull up a workshop. Organise those. The nutrient.
Yeah.
So we'll close the meeting and we'll set up a date, shall we?
Yep.
Okay, so thank you very much. So all in favour?
Aye.
Thank you.
So,
I'd like to call on
Hey, Derek, you should cut up your deal.
Thank you.
There it is.
Okay. Kia tau tōrangi Māori, ki runga o ngā iwi o te ao. Let your peace reign on all the people of the world. We pray a blessing of safety on everyone in this room. And we just pray that our community and our country will be happy, healthy, and prosperous. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Well, can you please confirm that the live stream is
Can we just set a date?
Yeah.